Chapter 58 of Tao Te Ching, pronounced Tao Te Ching, opens with a political observation and then does something stranger with it. It turns the question of good and bad governance into a question about whether good and bad are stable categories at all. Audio pronunciation. Kai zheng men men. Kai min chun chun. Kai zheng cha cha. Kai min que que. Huo zai fu zai xiu yi. Fu zai huo zai xiu fu. Shu zai kai jai. Kai wu zheng. Zheng fu wei kai. Shan fu wei yao. Rain jai mai. Kai rai gu jiu. Chi shen rain fang air bu ji. Lián air bu gi jai air bu sai. Guāng air bu yao. Translation. When governance is unhurried and soft, the people are genuine and whole. When governance is sharp and scrutinizing, the people become cunning and hollowed out. Disaster is what fortune leans against. Fortune is where disaster hides. Who knows when one ends and the other begins? There is no fixed point. The upright turns strange. The good turns monstrous. People have been confused about this for a long time. Therefore the sage is square but does not cut, edged but does not wound, straight but does not force, bright but does not blind. The first two lines are a direct contrast. Chinese letter. Men means something like unhurried, loose, even a little dim. Governance that is men produces people who are Chinese letter, chun, genuine, unguarded, whole. Then Chinese letter, cha, sharp, vigilant, scrutinizing. Governance that is cha produces people who are Chinese letter, que, deficient, fractured, cunning. This is an observation about a feedback loop. When a government watches everyone closely, measures everything, penalizes deviations, people learn to perform compliance while moving their actual lives out of sight. The more the state probes, the more people hide. The more people hide, the more the state probes. The sharpness generates the very evasion it was trying to eliminate. You can see this at scales far below government. The parent who monitors every choice produces a child who learns to conceal everything. The manager who tracks every minute produces a team that optimizes for looking busy rather than doing good work. Then the passage pivots to something harder. Disaster is what fortune leans against. Fortune is where disaster hides. This is not just good times follow bad times. That reading is too thin. It's saying the two are structurally embedded in each other. The promotion that contains the role that eventually grinds you down. The safe neighborhood that contains the boredom that sends your teenager looking for danger. The success of a company that contains the complacency that eventually kills it. You cannot have one without the other already being present inside it, waiting. And then, who knows the limit? There is no fixed standard. Laozi is saying you cannot stand outside the system and identify the exact moment fortune becomes disaster. There is no stable reference point from which to make that call. The turning is continuous and you are inside it. The most uncomfortable lines follow. The upright turns strange. The good turns monstrous. The word for monstrous here, Chinese letter, yao, is stark. It refers to something demonic, malevolent. Laozi is not simply saying that good things can go bad. He's saying that fixing the good as a rigid standard and then applying it without judgment is itself what transforms it into something damaging. A law written to protect the vulnerable, applied mechanically to every situation, can harm the exact people it was designed to protect. A virtue practiced until it becomes performance becomes a kind of pressure, a silent accusation against anyone who falls short. What was good, by insisting on itself too hard, becomes something to be feared. The chapter ends with 4 paired lines about the sage, and they work as a kind of answer to everything that came before. Where but does not cut, edged but does not wound, straight but does not force, bright but does not blind. Each line names a genuine quality, squareness, an edge, directness, light, and then names the restraint that keeps it from becoming a weapon. The sage has these qualities. What the sage does not do is deploy them against people. A person who always has to be right is not straight, they're a blade. A person who shines their understanding at everyone around them until those people squint is not luminous, they're blinding. The quality is not the problem. The problem is when a quality becomes a project of imposing itself on the world. There's a version of this chapter that is purely political theory, and it holds up. Governments that try to manage everything in detail tend to produce populations skilled at appearing managed. The observation is old and it has not become less true, but the personal version is also real, and possibly harder. Most of us carry some quality we're proud of: clarity, consistency, high standards, honesty. And the chapter asks, do you hold that quality, or does it hold you? Is it available to the moment, or does it show up in every moment whether the moment calls for it or not? The fortune disaster embedding is the piece that doesn't resolve into a lesson. It doesn't tell you to be pessimistic, or to not invest in good outcomes. It loosens something, if you let it. Something going badly is not evidence that everything will go badly. Something going well is not a foundation you can secure permanently. There's less to defend in that. And, for some people, something close to relief. The qualities are real. What the sage restrains is the compulsion to press them. The next chapter is 59.